Right. Taifa Leo ndio tunaanza nayo leo. Acha katambe. Acha katambe sasa. That is what Taifa Leo wanaongelelea this morning. Kombe la dunia mwaka 2026, Mexico versus Afrika Kusini wanaanza 10 p.m. That is, wamekuwekea East African time ndio purpose to watch World Cup. Korea Kusini na Czech Republic, I assume that is Czechia.
What?
Czech Republic nimeitwa Czechia. In Swahili.
Oh,
all right.
But I've never had the Swahili equivalent for Czech
Republic. I think that is Czech Republic. Kesho 5 a.m. That is Korea Kusini na Czech Republic.
No, that's a most interesting part of this World Cup. That 5 a.m. when we were just doing the final preparations for our show, that's when the game is being played.
Yes.
Tutaweza kufocus kweli.
Tutakuwa tunaweka TV pale, tuna watch World Cup, tuna pause kidogo, tunasema good morning. Good morning, we are watching the World Cup. We hope you're watching as well. Come on.
Meaning by 7 a.m. that game is still on.
Yes.
And then analysis after that. Acha katambe sasa.
Katambe sasa. Mahali wanasema ni Amerika, Mexico na Canada. Lini? Juni tarehe 11, that is today, hadi July tarehe 29. Time, okay, timu ni 48, 48 teams are playing. Mataifa ya Afrika tuko na timu 10. Tuko na Senegal, Morocco, Afrika Kusini, Algeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast. Tuko na Misri. Misri ni wapi? Egypt. Right, Egypt. Tunisia, tuko na DRC na tuko na Cape Verde. So 10 teams to support in Africa if you want to support a team. Kumbe South Africa also play.
Nimesikia Wakenya wakisema we will not support South Africa today, we are supporting Mexico so that South Africans cannot stay there long. They go back and protect their jobs at home.
Yes.
The jobs they say they have.
Yes.
Warudi kwao wakae huko. Wanafanya ni kwa World Cup.
Yes. Kwa nchi ya wenyewe.
Kwa nchi ya wenyewe.
Na wataki watu kwao. Ulaya, there are 16 teams. Amerika Kaskazini, 6 teams. Amerika Kusini, 7. Asia, 7. Oceania, 2 na viwanja ni 16. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 18, 19 na ukurasa wa 20 wa gazeti hili. Sawa. Bajeti pia imezungumziwa katika ukurasa mbele wa gazeti hili. Kule juu, the famous briefcase is also here. Lakini hii picha kwa nini inakaa AI? Umeiona?
Ya Taifa Leo?
Utaiangalia hapo. Anasema bajeti ngumu ya Ruto yasomwa leo. Bajeti ngumu 4.82 trillion shillings, the highest kama kawaida in East Africa. Waziri Mbadi kusoma bajeti ya shilingi hiyo 4.8 yenye pengo la shilingi 1.1 trilioni. Yeah, so that is what we were talking about, that the fiscal deficit for the next financial year stands at 1.14 trillion shillings, which tunatafuta kufill na domestic borrowing as well as external.
No, kunaweza kuwa na grants, a few grants.
Yeah.
No, kuna mtu anaweza tusaidia kidogo shilingi kadhaa.
Hapa wa grants unajua
tunaendanga na ile bakuli kila mahali tunaenda. Na tusaidia. Unajua
pia tuko na kitu tuna anticipate hapo. Pesa ngapi? 43.6 billion shillings kutoka kwa kuomba.
Yeah. Now loans are part of the loans I think are going to be like the housing levy will be securitized so that we can secure more loans. Tumejipanga boss, tumejipanga.
Kilichofanya Katibu Bitok kuhamishwa imezungumziwa pia katika ukurasa mbele wa gazeti hili. Alihamishwa Jumanne kutoka Wizara ya Elimu hadi Wizara ya Utalii. Sasa ukitaka kujua kwa nini alitoka hapo, on page 2 there's this story. Tayari rumors zishaanza, alisema, alifanya, hakufanya. Habari kamili katika ukurasa
But I do support that. At least we need to see some movement when something big happens in Kenya. Some movement is necessary. Okay, people would have expected movement out, but movements nonetheless. Right.
Taifa Leo hiyo.
The Star, fresh, independent, different. The main story is about Gachagua borrows Uhuru ICC playbook. He says he believes he'll be stronger in position to fight impeachment as president. Remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta fought the ICC while he was president. So I think Rigathi Gachagua now will be pushing to become president so that he fights his impeachment, if at all the Supreme Court case or Court of Appeal stays beyond the 2027 election. But that's not the main story. It is the World Cup. Let the World Cup begin. And they have that coveted trophy there, the golden trophy. And some of the big players who are going to feature in this World Cup, including Haaland, Anakwanga nchi gani Haaland?
Kanash jamani.
Is a Viking, Netherlands huko. Norway. Hakim, Neymar, Ronaldo. Lakini Ronaldo bana is over 40 na bado kwa World Cup na mnasema watu wenye kwa over 40 wamezeeka. Chungeni sana. Mbappe, Messi. Hata Messi pia kuna miaka. So this story has been covered extensively on pages 30, 31 and 33 kule nyuma. All the sports pages are about the World Cup. Niliona yule referee wa Somalia ambaye alirudishwa nyumbani. They really welcomed him home very well. Meanwhile, the Star has very little discussion on the budget, and this is very interesting. Anyway, this is a different paper. By there hakuna mahali kuna budget. It's a small story on page 11. I just took a small story on page 11, body to present Kenya's biggest budget as tight economy bites. It's not even the main story on page 11. Iko hapo chini. Yet that is what every other paper has focused on. That's a Star. It is always fresh, independent and different. And you can get yourself a copy for only 60 bob.
Only 60 bob.
Only.
Sawa, tuangalie Daily Nation, manake pia ina focus on this same headline, World Cup. A World Cup like no other, they call it. That a repeat of 2010 fixture, the 2026 tournament kicks off today in Mexico with co-hosts facing South Africa. Wanasema pa many firsts. Biggest ever, 48 nations including a record 10 teams from Africa. There's a longer show, 104 matches played over 39 days in 16 venues. The knockout stage, that is a round of 32, will be held for the first time. Champions race, eventual winner will play 8 matches in total. 3 hosts, there's United States, Mexico and Canada co-hosting the 23rd edition. Basically just what Taifa Leo has also talked about. There's a growing controversy that has been sparked by the US. Global outrage over travel bans and visa restrictions kama huyo referee wa
I also learned that the reason why one or a number of our journalists didn't go was also the same.
Yeah.
Wanaleta Ebola huko lakini wanasema sasa sababu kuna Ebola huko sasa msikuje.
Imagine. There's also a bigger audience. Sijui kama nyinyi mnaenda talk to us. A record 0.1 million spectators expected to attend the matches. 0.1 million. Mmepata visa ya kwenda US.
What about the cost of the ticket?
Yeah, imepanda definitely.
Ndio hapo bei, angalia bei ya ticket.
Most expensive. That it's ranging from $60 to $6,000. Lakini hii ni 7,771 Kenyan shillings.
Yes, that's probably the cheapest ticket.
To where?
To the World Cup, to go into a stadium to watch the World Cup.
I was thinking it's a flight money from pale JK.
Hata kama unatoka neighboring Mexico unaenda kuwatch, hata kama uko Mexico now you're not taking a flight.
Yeah.
But you book the most expensive ticket, probably the VIP.
Yes.
It's only about 777,000.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, only. Ukiongeza 200,000 unapata milioni.
Hii ni ticket ya kuingia stadium, si ya flight kama vile nilikuwa nasema. All right, sasa that's as far as World Cup is concerned. That's the main story on the front page of Daily Nation. Ruto's elections budget. Right. This is a very consequential budget. Election year iko hapa. So, some are saying this is a politically correct budget. Is it though? Because security comes second after education this year. But they're saying huge allocations for infrastructure projects like roads and railways feature in the last full year budget for President Ruto before next year's general election. So, next year bado kuna ile at a table.
Yeah, but it will be too close to the budget day. You know, the fresh new year starts in July.
Yes.
So July and August is only a month apart. So this is the only budget that it can use to campaign. And next year itakuwa time bad.
Yes. Okay, 4.82 trillion. Once again, hiyo lazima tuambie mjue sisi wenye tunapenda ku live beyond what we can or what we have. Daily Nation, you have something else hapo?
Naona hapa kwa Ebola. Mambo ya budget will go to the standard. But kwa Ebola, because that's one story we keep forgetting, and even schools tumesahau. But on Ebola, now there's a question. Questions mount over missing Ebola units. Where are the other 22? You know, the CS says, why are you talking about this one in Laikipia, the other 22? So guys are asking, okay, where are they? The other 22 quarantine units for Ebola. Yeah. So those are just some of the questions. Remember that bado people in Nanyuki are protesting against the setting up of that quarantine facility there. That's the only thing I wanted to add.
All right.
The Standard has decided to focus largely on the front page about the budget. And this is because for the very first time, I think the alternative government has come up with an alternative budget as well. Interestingly, it's a choice of photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did they choose Kalonzo as a main guy to talk about this one?
Manake ni
The
alikuwa anaisoma.
Why did they choose him? Previously siwa wanachagua mtu mwingine. Inaweza kuwa Matiang'i.
Sini alikuwa anasoma hiyo.
It's very telling. But anyway, Treasury CS unveils 4.8 trillion shillings. Hizo mambo tunajua. But the opposition, they call themselves United Alternative Government, unveiled a rival 4.3 trillion shilling budget. So which would reduce the budget by about ½ trillion shillings. Yeah. Yesterday, in which they proposed spending cuts, scrapping of SHA and housing levy. But now how do you scrap off housing levy if it's already been securitized to get a loan? Remember, Gachagua has always said, if we get into power, we're doing away with SHA and housing levy. But if you find that the housing levy has already been securitized, that means it's already gone. You imeenda and someone else owns it.
Yeah.
There's nothing much.
Hapo walikuwa wajanja securitizing that.
Yes. Increased funding for health and education. So if you look at the opposition, they say total budget 4.32 against the current budget ya serikali 4.82. Projected ordinary revenue 3.7, which is more, almost by 1 trillion shillings to the projected ordinary revenue by the government currently at 2.99. Yeah. So ni wapi watatoa hiyo 700 revenue, 700 billion shillings.
Yeah.
Deficit up about 600 billion compared to the current 1.1 trillion shillings. So this is a United Alternative Government saying, kama ni sisi tungekuwa in power, our budget would look like this, it would save you this much. You can read more on that on pages 4, 5, 6, and 7. So a lot of focus on budget matters. But pale juu, the top strip, they gave space for at least of the World Cup. World Cup bonanza, let the games begin. Nani mwingine amesema let the games begin?
Katambe.
Let the World Cup begin. Let the games begin. The World Cup, I think, is the biggest sports bonanza in the world.
Yeah.
Only compared to probably the Olympics. But I think the World Cup attracts a lot more attention globally as compared to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So even back page in the matters to World Cup. In fact, they only have one sports page. This is a standard. And it's just the last page, page 36. Let the games begin. So a lot of focus on the World Cup as well, and the budget.
All right, tuangalie sasa People Daily. Budget is the main story here. Mbadi walks a tightrope, and this year's budget is expected to be financed predominantly through domestic borrowing, venye tumesema, even as Kenya grapples with heavy debt repayment burden, growing demand for relief from high cost of living, and increasing pressure to fund key government programs. The size of the budget here, tunishawaambia. A debt repayment in budget with financing relying on domestic borrowing, we're looking at 2.3 trillion shillings. I had already mentioned, Apple domestic borrowing, we're targeting 997 billion shillings. That is here at home. External financing is projected at 116.2 billion shillings, representing about 10% of the deficit financing. Kule juu, why LSK president believes Gachagua can still seek public office. That is Charles Kanjama. That story is on page 3. Huku chini zaidi, environmental crimes court delays threaten Kenya's conservation efforts. Hawajazungumzia World Cup, lakini World Cup iko. But the main story here is about budget, which is also very important. I feel like Kenyans, na ulikuwa umesema hii kitambo, ati we don't quite take much attention to budget as well. Kwenye pesa inaenda.
Yeah, we don't focus on where.
Ati mpaka leo hata labda watataka kujua au nangoja tu finance bill waseme reject.
Hapana, you're too harsh on that.
Let me tell you, no.
You're too harsh.
You know, yesterday I tweeted about it and said that today is budget day in East Africa, nini. You know, Joba Kenya bado hawajui leo kuna budget.
Lakini angalia, because shortly we'll be looking at the local, the regional dailies to angalia who's focusing on the budget more. Yeah. Angalia Business Daily kwanza.
Sawa basi tuvuke boda sasa.
Umemaliza Business Daily?
Business Daily pia bado wanazungumzia tu hiyo tu. Budget's new dilemma in funding 4.8 trillion shillings budget. Nothing new. Business Daily pia ni budget.
All right. Tukivuka boda twende Uganda, tuanze na gazeti la The Monitor. The main story is not about the budget. Not even the World Cup. Yeah? Witnesses. Here's Dr. Besige's plot. The full treason trial of opposition leader Kizza Besigye, his aide Obeid Lutale, and UPDF captain Dennis Oola opens today, with the state expected to line up about 10 witnesses to testify against them. So that's the main story. It's that treason charges against Kizza Besigye. The budget has been mentioned pale juu on the top strip of the Daily Monitor. Kidogo tu. We're looking at the Daily Monitor in Uganda now. Story ndogo sana na iko on page 3. Yeah? That's about 2025-2026 budget, the hits and misses. Inajificha, you might not even know there's a budget in Uganda. Wako kwa Besigye. Hata World Cup, no mention of it.
Yeah.
We don't have the other paper, the New Vision, sababu walilala. Twende Tanzania. We start off with the Citizen in Tanzania. And the main story on the Citizen is about the budget, cost of living. All eyes on the budget speech. So in Tanzania, at least one of the papers focus more on the budget. Tanzanians are today closely following proceedings in Parliament with widespread anticipation that the government will outline concrete measures to ease the rising cost of living when it presents its 62.3 trillion shilling pesa za Tanzania budget for the next financial year. So at least the Citizen focuses on the budget in Tanzania. Tuangazie gazeti la Mwananchi. Gazeti la Mwananchi wanazungumzia nini? Singapore. Somo la Singapore kwa uchumi Afrika. Nyinyi mlidhani Singapore tu ni nyinyi mnajua kwenye iko. Ati iko pande gani nyinyi mnaenda Singapore? Wa Tanzania pia wako barabarani. Rais Shanmugaratnam ahutubia chuo kikuu UDSM akitaja njia ilizopita nchi yake kuyapita mataifa mengi ya Afrika ikiwemo Tanzania. Ataja vikwazo vinavyopaswa kuvukwa ili kupiga hatua. Rais wa Singapore yuko Tanzania na hii ndio habari ambayo imepewa kipaumbele. Lakini ni kilio au kicheko bajeti leo wanauliza. So masuala ya bajeti yamepewa na hiyo bunge yao inakaa very different. So at least wamezungumzia masuala ya budget huku Tanzania kidogo tu. Si kama Kenya. Kenya World Cup, hata wazungumzi World Cup by the way. They're not talking about the World Cup on the front page of the Citizen or the Mwananchi.
Ama sisi ndio tunapenda mchezo sana.
Even tunapenda mchezo. Wa Kenya tunapenda mchezo. Sio mimi nimesema, ni Ana amesema.
You've echoed what mwalimu has said.
Hiyo shauri yako.
Unajua Tanzania ni 3.08 trillion shillings. Kenyan shillings. The budget.
Nilifikiria hiyo, unajua 3.8 trillion ya Tanzania hiyo. Nafikiri watanunua gari kama 3 tu alafu wafu.
Hiyo ni kidogo sana, kwa hiyo ni currency yao.
Turejelee tuangalie karakacha.